Join the Fuzz Buzz, where retired Lieutenant Jessica Taylor and retired Motors Officer Mike Gonzalez serve law enforcement's unfiltered reality. No PC, just raw, uncensored truth. 50 years in the trenches. Buckle up for a blunt, gritty ride behind the badge. No apologies here for shaking things up, demanding better policing, and real community action. It's raw, edgy, and a streetwise journey towards solutions. So strap in and let's rev this truth up.
Hey,
what's going on? It's a Wednesday afternoon, our time. So what have you been up to?
well, I'm just watching our cat just roll in, so I know she's about to make a whole bunch of noise because whenever you're in the garage,
Well, hopefully
she
there's
gets
some
like
food.
super excited, but when I'm out here by myself, she just does nothing.
Ignores you.
Right. So what have I been doing? Well, while you were walking the dogs, I was, like just curious because I'm a curious mind. I just love learning things, right?
Right.
And so I was like, what are the because our last couple episodes we've included the military industrial complex. So I've been like, who are the main some of the big unknown players of the military industrial complex? I just Googled it just to see. And this is interesting, I found. So my question was, what is the largest NGO in the United States? Okay. So, and we know that the NGOs are part of the military industrial complex, pharmaceutical industry, medical industrial complex, all the things. Feeding America is one. United Way Worldwide, St. Jude's Children's Hospital and Research, the Salvation Army, NAACP. That does not surprise me.
Are you saying, these are non-governmental organizations? Are they feeding into the military industrial complex?
Well, they're just very influential NGOs. So non-governmental organizations that like donate tons of money and lobby, right?
Right.
So the NAACP, the American Civil Liberties Union, Amnesty International, Planned Parenthood, the American Heart Association, and Red Cross.
Right. Again, they're going to take all that money they're making off of us to further their own personal agendas.
Yeah. So
that's how they get the lobbyists to buy off the politicians to sway the votes.
Yeah. So what's our topic about today?
Since we just a couple days removed from the inauguration, which, thankfully it went uneventful, but very glorious for, President Donald Trump. So I figured we go a little fake outrage to hypocrisy because of, the transition of power.
I'm in. Let's do it.
All right. But, before we dive too deep into that, we're retired Seattle police officers. So we like to try to incorporate something of Seattle since we don't live there anymore. And
I'm so sad about that.
I know. Well, there's going to be a lot more people exiting, or mass exodus from that region because of the politics. But, being Seattle police officers, we've really been kind of harping on, former police chief and a bunch of lawsuits. So I thought we would go to if you want to call it the sister agency, the University of Washington Police Department, and kind of how feckless they are also considering
well, we do have a mutual aid agreement with
right. Them. But, with the political landscape, they're about as, I don't know, hand-strong, hand-tied, or just worthless. But here, check this out. So this is a little bit of intro. This is Riley Gaines. She is famous for being the Kentucky NCAA swimmer that basically went against the system because they allowed a man to compete against her, and he ended up winning the title from her. So she really became her and her friend Olivia, who are speaking for Talking Point USA, show up at UW to have a little discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what went down. This is Kelly.
On the door. We were finally able to get into the room. We have a couple people in here with us, and they just bang on the doors. It's really annoying. Yelling.
Embarrassing.
So embarrassing. And this kind of goes on for a little bit, but you kind of get the point. And the sad thing is that University of Washington has a law enforcement agency. They're not security guards. And those 2 law enforcement officers were standing right behind a door. I mean, what do you make of that?
Okay, so how I see that as they've barricaded themselves into, instead of taking action and pushing, like this is a turning point event, right? That is that they've paid for to be at the university. So if anybody's going to get pushed out of anywhere, it's going to be the protesters and Antifa is how I would expect it to go. But apparently that doesn't appear to be the case. In fact, it seems like they've allowed these protesters to barricade these. I'm incensed.
You're speechless.
I'm speechless. So the speakers and the cops are barricaded inside of I guess it would be an auditorium of some sort. And the protesters are banging to get in.
And on top of that, they pulled fire alarms, which are illegal against the law. And banging on the doors and refusing to let these folks just do their own thing.
Yeah. So I guess what I find the most shocking about the whole thing, and I just pray to God that maybe he's on vacation. I don't know, just maybe on vacation, because I think he's very, very, very competent. He used to work for our department. He's now a bigwig over there, but he's very, what's the word? I guess he knows his tactics. He's very
intellectual.
Yeah, he's very intellectual. He's an attorney.
Right.
Right. And he knows his shit about crowd control. So for him to let this happen is just freaking crazy to me. I mean, now his politics are completely opposite of ours. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. However, I just cannot see him allowing this to happen. I would see him calling for mutual aid. Not that Seattle has much to send, but they would send something before he would let this happen. So how the fuck did this happen?
Right. Well, let's step back a little bit and talk about, remember when they had the Palestinian protests on campus? UW was one of the big ones that, allowed them to take over Red Square and force students to not occupy certain parts of their campus.
Oh, right.
So,
right.
Now you have a Turning Point USA, TPUSA. They're right-leaning, they're very conservative Republican, and you're still in, the heart of liberal Seattle.
But that doesn't give you a right to do this shit, right?
It doesn't. It doesn't. I completely agree. But, it's like, you figure in this day and age where things are turning that they wouldn't cower to the woke mob anymore. But apparently at the University of Washington, they still do.
So don't send your kids there would be my suggestion. Yeah.
No. Well, shoot, we've worked around there, and the crime that goes around that goes unreported, it's not worth sending your kids there. So, we're going to leave that with Seattle, and that's, but we always have to bring Seattle into this.
I just thought that I'm shocked because I know who's in charge over there. And I'm just like, what?
Right. So, going on topic now from fake outrage to hypocrisy.
Okay.
So before President Trump was elected and sworn in, there's all this outrage about all the potential stuff that he could or possibly would do, right? We're talking about the lawfare, locking up, political opponents and everything else. And yet here we are today, they did all that to him. So that there's the hypocrisy there, the outrage. Well, let's go back to December 2020 when Biden was already, he was elected to be the next president, beating Donald Trump. Legally, illegally, that's another discussion. But here's what he had to say about preemptive pardons. Bear with me. She's making me do this show for the first time ever. And we're working.
Yes.
We're working.
So Mike is learning that it is not as easy as just do.
Well, you need to hire a producer. But here we go. So this is Joe Biden, December 2020, before he was sworn in, talking about preemptive pardons.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons. Nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Okay.
Right. So here we are. Now, does that sound like something he's against preemptive pardons? Is that what the gist of it? Is that what you understood?
Okay. Well, that's what I understood. But preemptive pardoning is not a thing.
Why?
Well, because you have to be charged and convicted of a crime to be pardoned.
Right. So, and
so this is just like hokey bullshit, smoke blowing, virtue signaling, all of it. It's not a thing.
And I agree. But so if he was talking about not doing preemptive pardons, here is
that's awfully hypocritical.
Here's one picture I just want to share. Look at, what is this? It kind of looks like it is his, pardoning his family.
Yeah. Why would you want to do that?
See, I'm working through kinks here. I was trying to blow it up, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine why you would want to do that.
Yeah, so look at that. James Biden, Sarah Jones Biden, sister-in-law, Valerie Biden, Owen, sister-in-law, John T. It's Francis Biden. And, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, innocent people don't do that shit. That's all I have to say about that.
Right. So
but it's also not a thing.
Yeah. So he pardoned his family right, I think like the 12th hour right before he was about to be sworn out. But prior to that, he also gave a blanket preemptive pardon to the committee, the January 6th committee. Liz Cheney was part of that, Adam Kinzinger and a host of other folks. So,
well, here's the problem that I'm seeing with it, because now the left is coming in and saying, Trump's pardoning all these January 6ers and whatever. The difference is that they were charged and they were convicted of a crime.
Right.
So that's the difference.
And I agree. And so one of the people that is basically going to take advantage of one of these presidential preemptive pardons is Mr. Adam Kinzinger. And here's what he had to say himself.
Fang Fang.
Yeah. Here's what he had to say about preemptive pardons.
The reason I know to ask for a pardon is because you think you've committed a crime.
Like, I only know of one reason to seek a pardon, because you're worried that you're guilty, that you committed a crime.
The only reason.
Okay, I'm sorry, but wasn't he banging the Chinese spy?
No, that was Eric Swalwell.
Oh, Swalwell, right.
No, this is crying Adam Kinzinger, who is a Republican. So, you got to give him that. He was the one that basically wanted to unilaterally support Ukraine no matter what for everything. But, this is him, back in 2020 himself talking about, well, if you need a preemptive pardon, then clearly you're guilty of something. So why did he accept one from Joe Biden on the way out the door?
It's not a thing. It's not, it won't hold water. So I mean, but you can't explain that to
but that's
all
just
of our liberal friends. So they just are like, oh, good. I know.
Yeah, no, I mean, the liberal friends are going to be like, oh my God, they're just protecting from this lawfare that Trump's going to bring, which he never did. If he wanted to bring a lawfare, it would have been against Hillary Clinton and her whole computer issues. But he just like, no, we'll investigate it and leave it alone. He didn't want to put her in prison, didn't want to try her or convict her in a criminal court. He just wanted an investigation done. So here they are saying, one, Trump is going to be, go lawfare on everybody. Two, he's going to preemptive pardon everybody. And when he went out the door, he didn't preemptive pardon anybody. He didn't have to give a pardon to any of his families or anything. So the hypocrisy of now, today in 2024.
Oh, it's gross.
It's gross.
It's absolutely gross.
Right.
So,
and like,
and they still can be charged, and hopefully they are. I mean, I can't imagine, giving Fauci of all people a preemptive pardon.
Right. And he swears up and down he didn't do anything wrong. He's like,
well, if you didn't do anything wrong, then what are you worried about?
Exactly. And so why then don't accept it? You don't have to. So I also learned that you have to physically accept it. So just because
you have to physically accept your fake pardon that isn't worth anything.
Right. So if they don't believe they did anything wrong, they don't need it, then they can just simply say, thank you, Joe, Sleepy Joe, Dementia Joe. But no, I don't need that pardon. I'm golden. I'm good. I lose no sleep over anything I did.
which would be what a true ethical leader would do.
And somebody who didn't do anything wrong that needs to hide behind a fake preemptive
Fake
presidential pardon.
preemptive presidential pardon that doesn't mean squat.
So, that's, again, we're talking about the hypocrisy. And that's one of the reasons, here's another thing that, it's funny because I actually find this one a little funny. So Elon Musk, he spoke at the inauguration. He was excited. And, he basically gave a little bless your heart kind of salute to the people who are Make America Great Again. Right. But.
Well, that's not how they spun it, though.
Right. How did they spin it?
They spun it as a Hitler salute. Right.
So I thought this was kind of funny. One of his engineers basically are, talking about the salute. So it's about a minute and a half, but they break it down.
Engineer here. I'm going to be breaking down this video from the inauguration. I'm not sure what the hubbub is all about. I'm a scientist, and what really matters here is the angle. Now, the danger zone here is about 135 degrees. We can see that right here. Okay. Now, in Ukrainian terms, this is what we call the Nazi index, right? If you have an angle, any angle that goes beyond 135 degrees, then boom, you are a Nazi. But here, we have not reached that index yet. We're not in that space yet. However, anything above 135 should be considered in support of the Third Reich. I'm talking about things like futons, reclining beach chairs, the time 250 on the clock. All of those are Nazi propaganda. Elon, however, does not reach that far. Now, not only that, but look at the inverted parabola of the mouth here, right? With someone with genocidal beliefs, we would expect at least 10 degrees of additional concavity in the frown. We have that. Instead, anybody who's studied 101 geometry knows this. Instead, we obviously have an upside down smile, right? An upside down smile. So clearly, I don't really know what the hubbub is about. Also, this is just a one-off thing, as you can see from this video. God damn it. Hey, guys.
So, yeah. So, I figured, since the media wants to be so skewed, and I figured we'd have a little bit of fun with that, right?
Yeah, that was really funny.
So, in comparison to this, which the media really never does talk about, which, then again, you could draw your own conclusions about this. But, okay. Learning points, learning curves. Here we go. This is on Twitter now from our friends that lives at TikTok talking about, well, hey.
Not amazing.
Where is the media outcry talking about this stuff?
Is it more than 135 degrees? It could be.
Well, I'm thinking Hillary up there. She's got definitely low,
she looks like
Warren kind of.
Yeah.
The only one I would question would be Obama's there. His looks a little under 135.
I don't know. I think if anything has definitely 135, but anyways.
But yeah, it's just, again, when they were in charge, there's all this fake outrage towards Donald Trump. The guy could not, pass wind in a wind tunnel without being criticized that he's starting World War III. And here we are Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're 2 days in. Where's World War III, right? Have you lost any of your constitutional rights?
No.
No.
Neither is anybody else.
No, and the fake outrage to the being just hypocritical of what's going on.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just, there's so many different, so many examples we could go down. And even now with, you could see where when Biden was in office, he wasn't accessible. The media couldn't ask him independent questions. He would not come out and address anything. He wouldn't multitask. You see President Trump, he's signing executive order after executive order.
Which some of them are so glorious.
Right, we'll get into that. I know that's something you want to get into. But you look at it, though, as he's signing, he's listening to a question, and he's answering that question, although it might not be the answer these people want to hear because he's being a smartass because, where was all this hatred towards Joe Biden when he was in office?
Well, there was no hatred because he never let anybody in the Oval Office ask him any questions.
Exactly. And, there was no hate on him because they were protecting him because we all know that he wasn't capable of multitasking and taking on the press at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's her face? Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is.
Korean Jean-Pierre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like the worst, absolutely the worst. And they just tried to torture her, and, she just talked in circles.
Yeah. I mean, you could even go as far as on Inauguration Day, President Trump had enough balls to put a stage in the middle of Capital One Arena, the hockey rink for Washington, D.C., and he signed executive orders in front of all those people as a thank you for them coming out for his inauguration. So would Biden ever give that kind of access?
No.
No. His handlers, would they let him that far off the leash?
No.
Sorry, we shouldn't say leash. Dana White doesn't like saying the word leash, but
he doesn't.
Well, because you don't remember that interview he gave when one of his fighters was.
One of his fighters said something, and somebody said that you don't keep them on a leash.
Yeah,
to keep them what they're tell them what to say or something like that.
That's the one. Yeah, and he just goes up like a leash. I don't put anybody on a leash.
On a fucking leash.
They're free to say and feel and do whatever they want. They're
yeah.
But I mean, Biden clearly had handlers that, in certain circumstances or certain situations, they would be like, up, everything's over, time out, done, nope, no more questions, we're out of here, because he was unpredictable. He couldn't stand up to the scrutiny and the pressure.
Yeah, because then you've got to even unfuck it even more.
Right.
If you let him talk, you've already have to unfuck it. But now, if you let him open his mouth, you have to unfuck it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to unfuck the truth, right?
Yeah,
because that's all it's gonna come out. Is if they don't control him, then people are like, why is he so happy and why is he like always smiling now? We're talking about Biden. It's probably because he doesn't have the handlers control him anymore. He can probably say and do whatever the hell he wants, and he's probably happy that Trump's in, and he's gone because of the BS. That's just my take.
Yeah.
Before we move off the hypocritical side of this, I just wanted to talk about Pete Hegseth.
Okay.
Right. He is the nominee for, Department of Defense.
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you want about him. Right. He doesn't have the most stellar of moral characters from his past. He says he's changed, he's cheated on his wife. He might've had one or two too many drinks after, he's a war fighter who saw combat. And when he gets together with his brothers in arms, sometimes they have a drink or two.
Imagine that.
But he clearly has not been drunk on, because I guess it was a Fox News, Fox in the Morning, where they claim he showed up drunk all the time. And, you got all these anonymous complaints coming out saying, well, he was this, he was that. But yet,
if you're an anonymous complaint on anything, I discredit you immediately.
Exactly. And that's where I was going to go, is because he has all these other people coming on record with their names that worked with them, that are producers, that are, they're interviewers or they're politicians that said, I've been around him long enough. I've never seen him drunk on duty, So this is basically Senator Mark Mullins is what I'm going to show now, talking about how hypocritical people can be when it comes to, hey, aren't we all just a little human? And where was your fake outrage? Oh, let's see.
And we all are human. We have all of us done shit that we are not like super proud of as adults. And I can tell you at 54, I am not the same person that I was at 34 or 24 or even 44.
Yeah, exactly.
You do change.
All right. So here he is, Senator Mark Mullin, and he's a Republican, of course, and we just got done. The Democrats have been hammering, especially Senator Kane, talking about his adultery and that child he wed and blah blah blah, just real sick stuff. But here is Senator Mullin.
Of the Secretary of Defense is. I Googled it and went through a lot of different sites, and really it's hard to see. But in general, the U.S. Secretary of Defense position is filled by a civilian. That's it. If you have served in the U.S. Army forces and have been in the service for, you have to be retired for at least 7 years, and Congress can weigh that. And then there's questions that the senator from Massachusetts brought up about serving on a board inside the military industry, and yet your own secretary that you all voted for, Secretary of Austin, we had to vote on a waiver because he stepped off the board of Raytheon. But I guess that's okay because that's a Democrat Secretary of Defense. But you so quickly forget about that. And then Senator Kane, or I guess I better use the senator from Virginia, starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No, but it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke. I mean, it is so ridiculous that you guys hold yourself as this higher standard and you forget you got a big plank in your eye. We've all made mistakes. I've made mistakes. And Jennifer, thank you for loving him through that mistake. Because the only reason why I'm here and not in prison is because my wife loved me too.
So there you have it, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. Right.
I don't know, like I said, it's.
Did you see the guy sitting behind him? I don't know who
Oh,
that
yeah,
is. He's
yeah.
like,
I was going to say, like, God, it must be tough sitting behind these folks. But go ahead. What were you going to say about him?
well, he's just sitting there going,
Oh, yeah. Big old smirk going, yeah, buddy, bring it on home. Yeah. I mean, right. We've grown a lot and we still grow today. And, it's, yeah.
we are not, you and I are not the same people
No.
we were 10 years ago.
And yeah, we've grown together. We've even grown up since, we were grown-ups,
Yeah.
when we met, 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
But and then I didn't pull it up. Everybody knows about the Congress slush fund, right? Of where they pay off all of the sexual assaults they're being accused of. So how come none of them have been called on the carpet and
because
fired?
they're all blackmailed.
And then they're hypocrites too, because now
Yeah.
they're going to try to call Pete Hegseth out on his transgressions that he has admittedly talked about, and whether he's found God or not, that's between him, his God, and his wife. But his wife found it pertinent to stay with him and believe in him and give him a chance. So if she trusts him, then I don't know what
Well, we were talking about this the other day, just in regards to the police department.
right.
I mean, the police department, these people respond to your house every single day. And a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them have done the same thing. I mean, don't bag on Pete Hegseth for
Right.
this. Do I agree with it? No. Does it happen? Absolutely. All the time.
Right.
All the time.
On duty. That's a different story.
And then that's a different story.
Yeah. But, I mean, going down the line, as I was saying, he's not qualified because he's not some, general, 4-star general. He hasn't served on any kind of boards, and those, like you said, the military industrial complex boards is where they're pulling the secretaries of defense.
Yeah.
They're the ones that want to stay in the business of war to keep
Right.
profiting
And that's
from it.
like how HHS stays in business, and all of them, they just swap spots between like
Right.
the pharmaceutical companies and the government, a government spot, and back and forth and
Right.
back and forth and back and forth. And that is not what you want running this country.
Well, yeah, they're doing it for profit. They're not doing it to better enrich.
And they get a mole in there.
Right. They're not bettering our lives by, keeping this whole propaganda complex going on. Like you said, the health side of it by keeping us sick all the time.
Mhm.
And then you got the war side of it where, we're perpetually in a war. We're going broke over here. Well, how much money has gone to Ukraine?
Oh, speaking of, I just have to add this before I forget. So I'm listening, it's long format podcast. So it's over an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And it's the Sean Ryan podcast with the Jane Doe, who is the CIA infiltrator, or not CIA infiltrator, but Al-Qaeda
right.
infiltrator, who is either CIA or MI6. I think she's MI6.
Right. With her accent, she's definitely somewhere over on the other across the pond kind of secret shit.
I think she's MI6. So anyways, she was saying, and she's infiltrated, so she is in there.
Right.
She's saying that the America sends Al-Qaeda, I think she said $46 million, or the Taliban, I'm sorry, sends the Taliban $46 million a week.
A week.
A week.
Right.
We fund the Taliban.
And it's a government plane flying it in,
With
unloading it.
literally, she said, with bags of cash.
Right. And then that's it.
Did you hear that too?
Right. Yeah, she talked about it, but Sarah Adams also really talked about it too. I mean, because Sarah Adams is the one that's tracking all these Al Qaeda movements, ISIS movements, and she's like, yeah. And Sarah Adams even goes to the point of breaking it down. There's eight people who get them, and the top 3 money getters are all Osama bin Laden's sons, who are now running the Al Qaeda.
Who were supposedly dead. Well, Hamza bin Laden was supposedly dead, but he is not dead.
Yeah, Hamza is the extreme. He's the terrorist.
He's the extremist.
I can't remember. One of the brothers is like a politician, CEO, so making bank legally, but also then sending that. So it's
a clusterfuck.
But yeah,
and we're funding it
to keep them supposedly from attacking us. But all they're doing is training other people to attack us. So they can.
Yeah, they're by proxy.
Right. They have a clean conscience saying, well, no, we're not. We didn't attack. That was ISIS, or as one of the other smaller groups. But yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. It is freaking crazy.
Well, I mean, I really, since we're kind of gone down the whole money thing, is I really hope that President Trump really stops. He's going to pause all foreign aid, but I hope he truly stops the Foreign Aid Act. It's like, why are we sending money all over the world when we have our own problems?
Why? Everybody just handle your own business.
Right. I mean, that's you don't see, Germany sending us money. You don't see Australia, coming over, sending us money. So why?
Nobody sends us money.
And they don't, and really, then if you look at the footprint of those people in NATO, we're carrying the load on that too and paying.
Well, so, he pulled us out of the Paris Accord and all this kind of stuff, which, thank God, people just don't want to do their homework on the World Health Organization or the Paris Accord or what any of that stuff really means. Or NATO. And so they're just like, their hair's on fire that we're pulling out of that. And, it is the best thing for our country and our people.
I mean, right now at this point, it personally, my opinion is, we're hemorrhaging, it's like, hey, we got to start applying tourniquets to the limbs to save the body. And that's the way I see America. America and its people are hemorrhaging, between the immigrants that, are coming over and now they're all up in arms because, what the app that they're using for free transportation to get it shut down gloriously on Monday. And, it's like you said, it's like he won an election November 5th. So you've had over 2 months to understand that what he's going to do, but yet you still are trying to make that trek to get in. It's like, you knew the free ride's over. So don't cry.
Or are you just a propagandist crisis actor?
Right.
That's been used many, many, many times before to reel in these bleeding liberals.
Right. Because who's really sneaking across the southern border?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Your military aged Al Qaeda, Chinese people.
It's
who
not
hate
the
country.
woman with the backpack and the kids and the fancy shoes and all that shit.
Right.
If they'd really trekked 2,000 miles or whatever it is, they'd be filthy, and they're not.
No.
Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm just saying question it.
Yeah.
Definitely question it.
Verify it. Go out and do your own homework. Try to, you need to verify. You can, like I said, don't trust anything. Verify it for yourself. They just give you a starting point. Where you finish is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But, if you're just going to read the headline and the little clickbait comments and you're going to take that as, the truth, the honest truth, then you deserve what, what's coming, I guess, or what's going down. So.
Yeah. So I find it interesting, though. This does concern me a little bit. Now, he didn't come out and straight up say, I'm supporting this cancer vaccine.
Yeah, it's a little bit on that. I got to do some work, but go ahead.
Okay, so he's got this guy up there who I don't really know who he is, but let me see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, he touted that guy around, on a couple different stages. I didn't.
What is his name? Let me see if I can. Okay, it's a $500 billion AI project.
Right.
Right. And it is, let me see. Tuesday at the White House, alongside reps from 3 tech investment giants, OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle launched the project called Stargate to unleash the new technology with the help of large data centers in Texas. And this goes on and somehow wraps into a cancer vaccine using mRNA. And, it's supposed to be like this. I don't know how it goes from that to cancer vaccine,
Right.
but it's an mRNA vaccine that is specifically designed for you. Okay,
Right.
well, here's a news freaking flash for you. If it is designed for you, you are the test subject.
Right. I saw a brief interview where he talked about it's your blood. AI is going to break down your blood to recognize if there's cancer in your blood. And then if there is, and then the AI is supposedly going to be able to diagnose that cancer and make a treatment specifically for you and your cancer. But it does involve mRNA, and he
does involve mRNA. And as we know, vaccines takes years and years and years to be ready to put on the market. So how the hell is this like, we're right back to the COVID vaccine situation, right?
I didn't get the take that they're ready to roll this out tomorrow.
No,
I
not
think
tomorrow,
yeah,
but
this is
soon.
something they're working on
Yeah.
that they think they can bring online.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean, again, if it comes out tomorrow, I'm going to be really leery. If it comes out in 2 to 3 years, but they keep talking about it and building up to it, well, that, like I said, it's just sticking with it and figuring it out.
I know this is going to piss a lot of people off. And again, I don't care. But these vaccines seem to have created turbo cancers.
Right.
So
at least the ones that they are using for they use for the pandemic.
Yeah. Yes. So they seem to have created these turbo cancers, and you see people that shouldn't have cancer having cancer all over the place.
Well, let's be honest, turbo ailments, people are getting sick for no reason other than they're,
and that is how our corrupt government works. They create the problem so they can create the solution. And so,
in
here we
that
are.
solution, I find it really interesting that this is like Bill Gates all
Yeah,
over,
so
right?
everybody needs, now that we're out of the WTO, everybody needs to, or WHO,
Yes.
everybody needs to keep eyes on Bill Gates.
But this is his pet project because what does he want to do? He wants to, basically curtail the population of the world by, mass genocide. But now nobody's even mentioning this guy, and he's not even in the talks. I mean, look at all the farms he was buying up and destroying, and all the.
Yeah, where is he? Does anybody have an eye on him?
He's not a doctor or a scientist, but yet he's on all these boards and pushing all this.
He didn't even graduate from college.
Right. So, but yeah, no, I just because when we were talking about some of the stuff coming down the pike, I was just like, it's really interesting that here he is now that transfer of power has happened. Bill Gates is nowhere to be seen.
Okay, so here we go down the conspiracy rabbit hole. Okay.
All right. What do you got?
So Trump calls this the Stargate. What did he call it? The Stargate project?
The Stargate AI.
Yeah, called Stargate. He just calls it Stargate.
Okay.
Okay. Now, back in I think it was the early 70s or late 70s. The Stargate project was created by the DIA and the CIA. And the Stargate was remote viewing, teaching people how to remote view, which means you can see into the future. And so I just find it very interesting that this cancer project is called Stargate. And now we have, the Stargate project that has been, declassified now about remote viewing. I just thought that was an interesting choice of words.
Right.
So,
I don't know.
So do they actually, has somebody remote viewed into the future and now they know that they have a cure for cancer and they're calling it Stargate? I don't know.
Well,
maybe.
If you're talking about conspiracy and rabbit holes, is Donald Trump actually a time traveler? Some people say yes. Some people.
You want to know what I think?
I know what you think.
What do I think?
Do you want to share with the people out there what you think, or you want to leave that? For
I think he
day?
is absolutely 100% a time traveler.
Right. I know.
100%.
And with
because he always seems to be one step ahead of whatever happens.
You know, and I mean, that's just too, it's like he is a phenomenon when it comes to what he has done. I mean, he's not a politician, but yet look what he can do.
Yeah, and that's where remote viewing comes into
Right.
play, right?
He-
Can he remote view?
Yeah. Well, you know, he has the
possible.
money, can make all the toys, but you know, and that's where I just want people, because I'm tired of, you know, for the last 4 years, whenever you went onto a social media site, it was like all this fervor about, you know, mad stuff, wanting to do crazy stuff, you know, just, you know, the lawfare, put him in prison, put all these other people in prison, take away our guns, our freedom of speech, the democracy's over. And now that the balance of power has changed, now I'm seeing all these people that think, well, Donald Trump's in power. Now we demand everything that we want happen now. We don't want, it's like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Are you just talking specifically about the J6ers?
Well, you know, that's the most easy thing to point out, that, you know, if people are following social media, is like, yeah, you know, there's procedures and paperwork. And like you said, there's probably not even that many J6ers that are even left in prison, but it's just, I'm talking about the fervor of me personally hated the way the country was ran and the narrative that was being portrayed out there. Now that the balance of power has changed, now it's like we who weren't in power are now in power. You know, and we're talking about all these people that think there's somebody on social media demand. And it's just like, no, just be sensible. Give the man a chance. Let him run some stuff. We're 3 days, 2.5 days into it. Just pump your
Well,
brakes.
even you worked in prison and I worked in jail, and it's
Right.
not just it's not easy.
Yeah, you don't wave a
You
wand,
don't just
snap a finger.
you don't just make a phone call and say release them. That's just not how it works.
No.
You have to, I mean, there's a system and a process in place. I mean, and if they really are in jail, which they're not, but if they are, that is a long process. I mean, it's not months.
No, it's not much. It's day. It could be a couple days.
But it's not like immediate. That's not, you just don't open the doors and let everybody out. That's not how it goes.
right.
But my opinion is that they were convicted or whatever, or I don't know, charged, maybe not even convicted. And they've just been at home with this looming over their head is what
A lot of them, yeah.
I think most of them. And so he's pardoning those people just so, you know.
And just let's put this out there also, this little side note. It's like, you know, the left media is going on about how he gave pardons to all the violent criminals. Well, no, he didn't. There were some violence that took place on January 6th, right? By the feds, or, you know, by Antifa, you know, the left infiltrators. He commuted some sentences, but he didn't pardon everybody. So, you know, the Proud Boys and the Oath Takers and those folks that really stirred up fervor, a lot of them were just commuted. So let's just, you know, not just say they blanket pardoned everybody, or he preemptively pardoned the world.
But okay, but let's go back to the pardon part, right? So that is a true pardon.
Right.
People that have been charged and convicted of a crime.
Or even just,
right? You can pardon those kinds of people as the president.
Right.
You don't get to do these preemptive pardons for shit that hasn't even happened yet.
Or
that's not how it works.
Or you can't sit there and say, well, just because it hasn't come to light, we're going to blanket pardon you for because essentially he did what he did for his own son, Hunter. He backdated it 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, what?
So it's like, well, why would Fauci need coverage for 10 years? What are you worried about?
Yeah. What did you do to all these people, Fauci?
And again, if you didn't do anything, then you wouldn't have,
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
No.
So
yeah.
But we still have, we still morally aren't corrupt like everybody else.
I feel like I still have a moral compass, although I will tell you what I think. So.
Oh yeah. It's one thing to tell people what you think, but it's another thing to sit there and, I mean, let's be honest. So in some illegally lock people up, fake charges, smoke crack, buy a gun, throw a gun in the garbage, work with, Chinese.
Do some finger painting.
Right.
So you can
meet with Chinese assets, to
run some bullshit companies out of Ukraine
to get checks from your brother for no other reason, but he just wanted to give you $20,000.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, completely. So yeah, we don't do that. So we wouldn't have to worry about hiding from that or need protection from that.
Nope. You got anything else on this subject over there?
No. I mean, like I said, there are we could go down this for days, but
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's just, I just wanted to point out the hypocrisy. It's like, stop. Let's just stop the bullshit. Everybody. You know, because even like now, even the press isn't letting it go. You know, they're still trying to hammer out, you know, all this bullshit on Trump that, you know, he's this or he's that.
Well, it also is just annoying just watching all the Republicans spiral up too. Now, you know, just
Right.
it's like chill the fuck out. Let the guy just sit down for a second. Just chill.
Right. You know, I mean, and you can already see where,
Seriously.
you know, DC's trying to work against them. It's like,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we're talking about, you know, all these appointees, right?
Mhm.
Why weren't they in place before, and why are they being held up now? So, you know,
Yeah,
all those
see, and I'm not
nominations.
very schooled on the situation and how it's supposed to work with
Right.
that. I was asking Natalie about it this morning, like, how is this supposed to work? Are they supposed to be in there already? What is the hang up?
Right.
Or are these I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, I just noticed that, you know, the Pamela Bondi, who was going to be, who they're trying to, you know, get her in as the next attorney general, or-
Who seems
or
smart as a whip
in
to
charge
me.
of the DOJ, you know, replace Merrick Garland. You know, she doesn't have a checkered past. She's a damn fine lawyer, but yet they're holding her up for another 7 days for
Because she's gonna release a ton of shit on them, I'm sure.
Oh, well, I mean,
I hope.
you know, if you watch some of her, some of the stuff, you know, questions she was being asked while they're, you know, going through the confirming, they're just like, oh, well, are you going to, you know, go after people without any merit, you know, without any crimes? And she's like, I can't give you hypotheticals. I'll look at the situation. If there's a reason we need to go down that road, then I'll choose to, but I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, President Trump doesn't like so-and-so, so I'm going to right now just going to go find something to charge them. That's lawfare.
Okay, so I wrote this in my exit letter because when the department went after the people, the officers that attended January 6th and did no wrong,
Mhm.
they did it backwards, right? So we investigate crimes in search of people,
Right.
right? We don't investigate people in search of crimes.
Exactly.
That is not how it freaking works. And that is exactly what they did to those Seattle officers and then fired them.
Right. Because they wouldn't comply because they had no reason to.
You have no reason to. That is not how this country is supposed to work.
Right.
You are violating my rights. And I just can't believe that they didn't sue over that. I would have sued your fucking ass off.
Yeah, they could still be working. I mean, that's not something that's gonna, but
Well, it'd be a federal lawsuit.
And we haven't heard anything. You know, you would have figured we would have heard a whisper about it, but we haven't heard any. And some of them, I mean, a couple of them just walked away. You know, they didn't even wait. I mean, I don't know. I probably would have ran every legal course I could.
Me too, especially on
follow.
that issue.
Right.
On that issue, yeah, for sure.
Right. Because
you're trying to make me out to be a criminal when I'm legally in some place where I'm allowed to be.
Right.
I didn't do anything wrong, and now you're taking my phone and going through my shit like I'm some fucking criminal.
Just because I caught a plane into an area.
Yeah, that is not how it works.
And then, yeah, I mean, that's what they did with, you know, President Trump.
Yes.
Right. They didn't have a crime on him that they're investigating. They basically went after the person to find a crime.
And that is how it has been done the last 4 years.
And when he had a chance to legally prosecute somebody, Hillary Clinton, he chose not to. Right. Again, and we already talked about that. He just chose to investigate what was done to basically just have for transparency, but he didn't want to criminally prosecute her whatsoever. And yet he was the one that was supposedly going to do lawfare on everybody.
Yeah. So anyways, let's shift gears and go over to the Bowie Police Department.
Okay.
I haven't watched this video, but we always like to, because we have a police experience and maybe we can learn something. Not that we're in police work anymore, but you know, maybe somebody else can learn something.
Or give a different
just,
perspective.
Yeah, just different perspective. So this title of this video coming from Police Activity on YouTube, which has great police videos. Bowie police officer fires gun at man who left car to retrieve hat. Just by the title alone, it doesn't sound so good.
Now, if we were going to go by the title and run with it, yeah, we would.
It doesn't sound good.
But let's
take a look.
Because I haven't seen this either. So yeah, this will be interesting.
Okay. So. It is about 1 minute and 52 seconds. So just hang tight.
210 76 Ave.
210, go ahead.
Be on 197 southbound on the 50 bridge. How you doing? You know her? You here to help her? Are you here to help her?
Nah, she taking me in the hospital.
Come here. You got a gun.
What I do? What I do?
You got a gun.
I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun. No! What did you do?
210. 210. Saw me another unit.
What did you do? Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why would you do that? He just was getting his hand off the side of the road.
210. Saw me fireboard.
Okay, I just gotta ask. Was it choppy on your side, or was it because it seemed like I was like it was skipping frames, so it was kind of choppy to me. So
Well, let me just back it up to the shooting part.
right, because I
Okay.
couldn't. It wasn't fluid, so all I know is
It was just a little bit choppy.
210. 210. Saw me another unit.
What did you do? Why did you do that?
you got it back. Right about that. Right.
How you doing?
Help on, dude.
You know her? You here to help her? Are you here to help her?
Nah, she taking me in the hospital.
Come here. You got a gun.
What I do? What I do?
You got a gun.
I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun. No! What did you do?
210. 210. Saw me another unit.
What did you do? Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Why would you do that? He just was getting his hand off the side of the road.
210. Saw me fireboard.
Okay, I think I understand what she's saying. That he
went to go retrieve his
he went
hat.
to retrieve his hat and was walking back to the car after retrieving his hat.
Oh, that makes more sense. But because the hat was on his head when he walked by.
Yeah, so he must have gotten out. They pulled over, turned on their hazards.
Yeah.
This is how I'm like
that
deducing.
makes more sense. Yeah.
And then he got out. However, his
Oh, hey, what, a little porn going on there? Or what?
is that however the hat got out of the car and off his head. I don't know.
Right. Blew
but
out the window.
Blew out the
something.
window, something. But then he got out. She turned on the hazards. He got out, got the hat, came back.
Right.
And
But
then,
I don't know what action he made to make the officer think that he had a gun.
I don't either.
But it didn't look good. And the fact that he was apologizing over and over again and he didn't find a gun. So I don't, with the whole graininess of it and the brightness, I couldn't really see what was going on. So I can't really say what happened. To me, he pulled over because he saw a car with flashes on. The gentleman walked up behind him, like you said, which makes sense, is his hat blew out the windows. She made a U-turn, pulled over into the left turn lane. He got out of the car, went and retrieved the hat and was walking back up to her car when he walked by the officer. But as soon as he walked by the officer opened fire. It's like, I don't know.
I think probably the guy just he didn't do anything wrong. So he's like, I'm just going to ignore you. I don't like cops anyways.
Well,
and just kept walking. And then, because he had a bag of some sort in his
right,
hand,
yeah.
right?
I saw the plastic, like a shopping bag, but the officer didn't tell him to do anything
No.
either. So it's not like he said,
No.
hey, take your hands out of your pocket, drop the
No.
bag, put your hands up, something. He did nothing.
He did nothing.
And the kid, I mean, I don't know, the young man, all he did was says, no, yeah, she's taking me to the hospital. And he just went to go get in the car. So I don't know. I just, from the video I saw, I can't make a determination of what led him up to the shooting, but clearly he didn't secure a gun. We didn't see a gun. And the young man said he didn't have a gun. So,
and he knows he didn't have a gun. He's sitting there going, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
that
Yeah.
to me, it's like, yeah, it's like, okay.
Yikes. So,
I have a police one, and this isn't really okay. Let's just say I'm not here to, critique this. I just want to say you can't be doing this. And, I truly hope the officer's okay. But it's just, you just can't be doing this. And, it has to do with, we always talk about moving vehicles.
Yeah.
And so we'll just go ahead and watch it real quick. It's a short one, but it's just like, oh my God. And I just hope he's okay.
Look how she just.
He's trying to sneak away.
Oh, she's trying to run.
Okay, that's enough of that.
He was badly hurt though,
he,
right?
he was. That's why I'm saying I'm hoping he made a full recovery. Yeah, he cracked, his head was split open. They go on to talk about, they could see the blood, but I mean, that we're not here to, make the situation worse.
Yeah,
but,
just don't do that.
Right. I mean,
don't do that.
Police Academy 101 is there. Like, you don't mess with the moving vehicles. You don't reach into them. You don't try to drag them out of them. You don't get in front of them. And I think it just goes without saying, you sure as hell don't try to do.
I have learned that lesson firsthand. I had my foot run over because I tried to pull a guy from a car.
Right.
And it caused me a bunch of surgeries in my foot. So,
and you've probably seen other videos where they were reaching in, trying to grab the gear selector to put it in park, and they get dragged, or, they get hooked into the seat belts. That was one thing they taught us from the first day. They taught us anything about traffic stops. Like, you do not mess with a moving vehicle. And I don't, like I said, I'm not here to second guess. I'm not here to critique or, criticize. I don't know why he thought he was going to, like, Dukes of Hazzard, slide into the back seat to get a girl that clearly, if he is there by himself, I can't imagine it was a life or death call, right?
No.
I think it said something about two girls were squabbing or fighting.
Who cares?
He separated, and this girl's like, probably, I don't know.
Yeah, she's probably like, deuces, I'm out. I've got a fast car. I'm going to split.
Or I got drugs on me. I'm drunk. Yeah. I don't know. For whatever reason, she decided she didn't want to stick around. And
what was your plan once you got into that car? Let's just say.
Little sports car backseat. And now you're basically.
What are you going to do?
Officer safety wise, you're compromising the hell out of yourself. But it's just like.
Yeah, but I mean, really, like, what is your plan?
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
But yeah, if anything you take from this, you don't mess with the moving vehicle.
Yeah. Okay. So those are our two police videos. But of course, because I'm so into conspiracies, and so is Candace Owens. So let me just play you this little Candace Owens video. And we don't really even need to talk about it. I just want you guys to understand how my brain works a little bit, because she sees it the way I see it.
Uh-oh.
What?
I don't know. I lost StreamYard.
I see you.
Okay. I don't know where mine went.
Here, let me pause the screen. We'll be right back. Okay, we're playing.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize. That was my fault. Too many moving parts. And
yeah. When you're dealing with multiple screens, all of a sudden you'll slide it off and it'll go out into the abyss. So anyways, Candace Owens thinks a lot like me. We're like kindred spirits. And she's a loudmouth like I am. So I just ran across this video, and I'm very suspicious of the alphabet agencies, as she is. So let's just take a little look, see what Candace has to say. Let's see, is it this one? No, it's this
one. You think did each of these huge events, okay? The killing of MLK Jr.
That was a CI operation because they considered him a dangerous communist. And the FBI was bugging in churches where he was giving some of his speeches in churches. They were bugging the podiums and following him around. He was a top target for elimination.
JFK.
I think that was a CI hit, and they may have employed some mafia connections to carry it out, because that was their mafia assassination program.
Exactly. LBJ was very involved in all that in Dallas. And so
he was an evil man.
He was an evil man. Okay, what about Pearl Harbor?
They knew the attack was coming. They knew where it was going to happen in Pearl Harbor and when. And they told no one, and they let it happen on purpose. That's from the commander of the Pacific Fleet. I would say that's a pretty credible witness. So yeah, that was a false flag.
They've admitted that. They admitted they heard it was going to happen. And, how else were you going to get Americans to be on the side of this war that had nothing to do with us? Which brings us to 9/11. Your opinion?
My opinion, as a criminal investigator, as a former CI officer, 9/11 was not the act of a bunch of poorly flight trained terrorists that executed an unbelievably meticulous piloting of those aircraft. Even pilots, there's pilots for 9/11 Truth now, and they say we could not have done that. Experienced pilots could not have made those maneuvers. Not possible. And then we go to the passport issue, and we go to the Tower 7, which was a controlled.
But now we're going to go back in time, and I'm going to ask you.
See that it cuts off right there,
Mhm.
because if you talk any further than that, YouTube will shut you down.
Wow. Who was the guy she was talking to?
He is let's see if
Who you think did each of?
hold on, can't expand.
Yeah, especially on Facebook, they got their
Yeah, there's just some things you're not. Let's see. I can't see.
it doesn't say, it just says good morning, God is
Yeah,
good
I'd
all the
ha-
time. Jesus, Christians, God, Jesus, Christians. So
Yeah, I don't know.
but he's a
He's
criminal
clearly,
investigator. He was former CIA himself. so
yeah, he is an investigator of some sort.
that's interesting.
Isn't that interesting? Okay, but we always like to leave on something funny and lighthearted.
We're going with mine or yours?
Oh, do you have one?
I told you I did.
Well, we'll go with both.
All right, who's first?
I'll go first.
Because ours will be a farewell.
Yours will be a farewell?
Right.
Okay, hold on. Let me get mine up then. It's so funny. I just can't even. It just, oh.
This guy. So I used to date this guy, and he. Oh, I don't think I'm ready to talk about that yet. So I used to date this guy.
The hell?
So I used to date this guy, and he. Oh, I don't think I'm ready to talk about that yet. So
He is like the best lip syncer, period.
I didn't think of that guy, but I was like, what the hell? So
He-
basically, some girls, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just lip syncing.
Okay.
I think it's hilarious, and it's true.
Okay.
Okay, so anyways.
So this is a farewell tribute, since we just had the changing of the guard and we have a new president. So we thought I'd say goodbye to the old one. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Bye-bye, Joe.
Bye.
Bye, Joe. The staircase already kicked your ass. Sorry.
Bye.
Yeah. So I thought that was just fine with all the stairs he had.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, that'll wrap up this episode. Have a great day, and we will talk to you later.
All right. Have a good one, y'all. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Fuzz Buzz podcast. If you're enjoying what you've heard today, please feel free to rate, subscribe, or leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode of the Fuzz Buzz. Y'all be good out there.